Hey, welcome in. You're listening to the daily version of the Korelin Economics Report. I'm Korelin. Appreciate you joining me. This is a remote that we're doing with Rhylin Bailie. Rhylin is in charge of investor relations, corporate communications, the whole Mary Ann, so to speak. Rhylin is back at the Prospectors and Developers Association Conference in Toronto, Ontario, and Big Al is suffering in the desert, Palm Desert. 77 degrees, my dear, no clouds and no wind.
Yeah, sorry, we don't feel very sorry for you at all.
Oh, listen, I know you don't. I know you don't. Hey, I got a question. You know, you've been manning the booth for NovaGold for the last few days, and you got a couple to go, I guess. But what kind of questions are people asking you back there?
Um, it's an interesting conference. PDAC is not really a pure investment conference. It's more about networking, seeing what everybody else is up to, catching up with old friends. I mean, I've been in the industry for 16 years now, so it's kind of fun to see people that, I mean, people come to PDAC from all over the world, so you get to see people that you don't see very often. But there's a lot of excitement. I mean, I think it's the biggest conference ever, 27,000 people, I think, this year. And I was talking to my mom this morning because my grandfather was the chief mining engineer at Korelin mines back in the 40s and 50s. And my grandparents used to come to this conference. So I was thinking I would love to see pictures of what it looked like back in the 40s, 50s compared to the 27,000 people that are here today. But everybody's excited. I mean, gold's at $1,400, copper's at $4. People are excited about lead. They're excited about zinc. Silver, people are saying is going to go to $45, $50 this year. So it's the momentum is, continuing to run, and people are pretty excited about mining these days.
Well, people are really excited, as they should be. I mean, we've been talking for a long time about how our day was going to come, and our day definitely has come. There's no question about that. And I have to tell you, I couldn't be happier for you and Rick and the rest of the crew at NovaGold. Okay, your stock right now is trading on the New York Stock Exchange AMEX at about $13.50 a share, significantly higher than it was, let's say, 6 or 8 months ago. What's causing that?
It's been an interesting bit of a roller coaster ride for us. We moved up actually to, I think we topped out at $16.90 at the end of the year last year, and we pulled back to about $13.50. Both of those were on no news, so that's just the sort of the excitement of the gold market is you move up, you move down. There's a lot of volatility, which creates a fantastic opportunity for the day traders. It's a little stressful for people that watch their stocks every day, but I think there's a real comfort level that we see from investors these days. A few years ago, if the stock dropped 5-10 cents, we'd get calls from people saying, what's going on? And we don't get those calls anymore. So I think the people that are in the market today understand that we're in a bull market. The macroeconomics say that gold should continue to hold strong, and there's going to be some volatility in the equities. That's just the dynamics of the market, but overall the sentiment is very positive. And I think for NovaGold in particular, we have so many big milestones coming up this year that people are willing to wait it out and maybe pick up a bit at the lows and know that we've got a lot of big catalysts coming up.
Yeah. You came out on February 22nd with a news release that basically the headline on that news release was NovaGold year-end financial results and project update. And it was kind of interesting because in the president's message, Rick came out and said, I'm just a direct quote here, what a difference a year can make. 2010 was a remarkable year for commodities, with gold increasing 25%, copper gaining 30% during the year, and silver rallying an astounding 78%. Indeed, gold reached new all-time highs in 2010, trading through $1,412 back on December 29th. I mean, this is very positive. My personal opinion on this is, and this is a bit of a forward-looking statement, and don't construe it as being investment advice, because it's not. It's just Big Al's personal opinion. I think that when Jim Rogers told me 3 years ago, when we were speaking at a conference in Frankfurt, he said, Korelin, we are in the early stages of a mega bull market in commodities. And he said, my personal prediction is it's going to last until 2016. So, we're going to have some good years ahead of us, I think, huh?
We do. I mean, nobody's crystal ball is accurate, so you have to sort of work with what you've got, and right now it's a really positive environment. But we still get these questions. They say, well, gold's at $1,400. Why aren't you in production yet? That's the number one question we get. Get it into production, get the cash flow, which is fantastic. But I think it was Aaron Regent, the Barrick CEO, a few months ago said, from the time that you're finished exploring, so you've found the deposit, you've explored it, it's 10 years after that to get that into production, because you've got to you've got to do all the community engagement, you've got to do all your environmental studies, all of your engineering studies, and if you don't plan properly at the front end, you're not going to be successful. So it's a very lengthy process, and mine production is very slow to respond to gold price increases. That's just the realities of the business. I think it's great that we're working in North America. It does take a little longer to get the projects into production in North America because of the environmental regulations, but I'd rather know that we're meeting the top-notch regulations out there, that we're operating to the highest standards, and I think it's willing to make it through that process, because once you do have your permits, once you've moved through the environmental engineering, community support, once you've knocked all of those off your checklist, this mine is yours for life. So they're not going to take your permits away, which they may do in sort of less stable regimes. So it takes a bit longer in North America, but once you've got it, you've got that certainty that you'll be able to operate this mine for the length it was intended to operate for.
We've talked about this a number of times, both with yourself, Rhylin, and also with Rick Van Nieuwenhuizen, president of the company. And I got to tell you, it's it's going to be a while before NovaGold gets into production. But when you do, you guys are going to be the big, one of the biggest in the world. That, my friend, is a real accomplishment.
It is, and when we have Donlin Creek and Galore Creek in production, we should be pretty close to 1 million ounces of gold a year. And because of the copper and silver credits that we get out of the Galore Creek, we're going to have very low cash costs. So, we're 6 to 7 years away, but when we get there, it's going to be a big accomplishment. But I think what the challenge in my job is to convey to people that it's not a straight line valuation. We're not going to go from development today to production valuations tomorrow. Every time we advance our projects and achieve a milestone, feasibility studies, starting permitting, getting permits, getting financing, construction, all of those milestones are revaluation triggers for the stock, because you're advancing the property and you're reducing risk. And we've got a lot of milestones coming up. 2 big ones this year. We'll have the Galore Creek pre-feasibility study in the second quarter, and that's going to be big news. That puts a really big copper, gold, silver Canadian project back on the map, and we'll be able to put reserves on the books. So that's a huge catalyst for us, and I'm really excited to see the results of that study. And then we'll have the Donlin Creek update in Q3, where we're looking at using natural gas rather than diesel. A couple of things we're looking at there. It certainly improves the economics of the project because we'll have lower operating costs, but environmentally it's a much better project, much smaller environmental footprint using natural gas, better for the local communities. It simplifies the logistical supply chain for us. So a lot of positives with that, and then move that project right into permitting. So there's, the last couple of years have been planning for us, planning and studying and getting ready to set the stage for this year, where we're going to see the results of those efforts. So it's pretty exciting, and being in this bull market, being at PDAC, seeing all these people is exciting enough, but we know we've got lots of big stuff coming up this year too.
That is absolutely fantastic, and we're going to keep you up to date on all of these events as they occur this year. I got to tell you, it's really, really fun to work with someone as enthusiastic as Rhylin, as competent as she is. 14 years in the business. This young lady is a real vet. Listen, this weekend, Rhylin is going to be on the weekend edition of the Korelin Economics Report, heard on the Genesis Radio Network, and we're going to be talking about some of the same subjects. Hey, Rhylin, have a great time back in Toronto, kiddo.
Thanks, Al. Wish you could be here.